He missed the opportunity of his life to help a girl. Unaware, she owned the company. Before we begin, I'd love to know something. Where in the world are you listening from? Tell me in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories travel. And if you enjoy stories like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell me in the comments what you think about this story when it's over. I really love reading your thoughts. Lucas never believed in luck. He believed in work. Long days, long shifts, the kind of exhaustion that crawled inside your bones and stayed there. By 26, he had already collected more rejection emails than most people collect photos on their phones. Apprenticeships, internships, entry-level positions, all the places that said we value character and then only hired people whose fathers played golf with the board. But this email had felt different. Dear Lucas Pereira, we were impressed with your application. We would like to invite you for an in-person interview at Horizon Dynamics headquarters. He read it 3 times, then a fourth. Horizon Dynamics, the biggest tech innovation company in the city. The kind of company with glass walls and gardens on the roof. The kind people whispered about when they talked about real money. He printed the email and taped it above his small kitchen table. Every morning, for the next 2 weeks, he looked at it like it was a prayer. He ironed the same suit 3 times. It wasn't new. The jacket had a thread coming loose at the shoulder, and the pants were slightly tight from all the cheap food he'd eaten during months of stress. But it looked clean, respectable. This is it, he told himself. Just one break. The morning of the interview, the world somehow felt louder. Buses hummed. Delivery trucks shouted. The sky was a pale gray, threatening rain without committing to it. He left his apartment 1 full hour earlier than necessary, because being late wasn't an option. Not this time. He checked his reflection in a shop window as he passed. Tie straight. Hair neat. Eyes tired but determined. He boarded the subway and stood because every seat was taken, clinging to the metal pole, rehearsing answers in his head. Tell us about a time you worked under pressure. He smiled. Every time. He pictured the building, the revolving doors, the security desk, the elevator with polished chrome buttons. He imagined shaking hands, being seen, being taken seriously for once. The train slowed. Next stop, Midtown. He stepped off onto the platform and climbed the stairs into the open air, and that's when he heard it. A soft, pained sound, almost swallowed by street noise. He turned. Down the block, near the curb, a young woman was kneeling beside the rear tire of a car, expensive, black, sleek like it belonged in a movie. Her hands were shaking. A single wheel lay flat, crushed against the asphalt. People passed. They glanced. They looked away. City rule number 1. Someone else will handle it. Lucas hesitated. His watch ticked. 8:42 a.m. His interview was at 9. He could make it. Easily. If he kept walking. If he pretended he hadn't seen. But the girl looked lost. Not the delicate, helpless lost, but the kind of lost where you're holding back tears because crying makes everything worse. He exhaled. Hey, he said gently, stepping closer. Everything okay? She looked up. Her eyes were striking, not because of their color, a deep brown, but because of how alert they were, even while she was clearly frustrated. She laughed nervously. No, not really. The tire just blew, and apparently my spare is decorative. The jack is missing, and I'm late. Do you have roadside assistance? He asked. She nodded. On hold. For the last 20 minutes. And traffic is going to get worse. His phone buzzed in his pocket. It was the calendar alert. Interview 18 minutes. He felt heat climb up his neck. He could leave. He should leave. Instead, he crouched beside the wheel, rolled up his sleeves, and inspected the damage like he actually had any business pretending to be a mechanic. He wasn't. But he knew enough. That tire's gone, he said softly. Driving on it will shred the rim. I figured, she whispered. She wore a simple beige coat, jeans, and white sneakers. No fancy jewelry, no flashy purse. She looked normal, too normal to belong to a car like that. He stood. Where do you need to be? She hesitated. Downtown. Big meeting? He asked. Something like that. He ran through a dozen calculations in his head. Option A. Leave now. Make the interview. Possibly get his future. Option B. Stay. Help. Probably sacrifice everything. He imagined himself at the front desk at Horizon Dynamics. Hi, I'm here for the 9 o'clock. Oh, sorry, you're late. We've moved on. He imagined the long walk home. He imagined his landlord's voice about the overdue rent. He closed his eyes for one brief second. What kind of person do you want to be? He opened them again. Okay, he said. Let's push it to the side at least. You shouldn't stay half in the lane. Are you sure? She asked. You look like you're on your way somewhere. He smiled weakly. I am. But it can wait a minute. It didn't take a minute. It took 20. The car was heavier than it looked. The curb dip was awkward. His hands throbbed. Sweat gathered under his collar. Twice, drivers honked. Impatient, as if inconvenience was a personal insult. Finally, the car settled safely near the curb. They both stood there, breathing hard. Her phone finally chimed. Roadside will be here in 30, she said. Good, he replied. Now that the adrenaline faded, reality slammed him in the chest. His watch? Baden Wushajofen. No. He took a step back. I have to run. Wait, she said, startled. At least let me thank you. You already did, he said. Be careful, okay? He turned and sprinted. The city blurred. Sidewalk, crosswalk, horns, lights. His shoes weren't meant for running, and each slap of leather against concrete sent pain up his leg. The building appeared like a crystal ship rising out of the street. Horizon Dynamics. He burst through the doors, nearly colliding with security. The guard frowned. Sir? Interview, Lucas gasped. 9. The guard checked the time. It's 9. Nelia Doista. I know, Lucas whispered. He rushed to the reception desk. The receptionist, immaculate hair, perfect blazer, gave him a polite smile that said she had already judged him. Name? Lucas Pereira. Marketing analyst. Her expression shifted from polite to apologetic. Oh, I'm sorry. They already moved on to the next candidate. He swallowed. Could I maybe just speak to someone? Explain? Her smile was sympathetic and distant, like she had delivered this sentence 100 times. I understand, but punctuality is very important here. You're welcome to apply again in 6 months. 6 months. He nodded slowly. Right. Of course. Thank you. He walked toward the glass doors, his reflection looking like a stranger. His lungs burned. But not from running. This was a different kind of pain. The kind that whispers, you blew it. Again. He stepped outside and found the nearest bench. The city moved around him like water flowing around a rock. He covered his face. He didn't cry. He hadn't cried since his father left when he was 13. But he sat there long enough for the world to feel distant, blurry, like he was trapped behind glass. His phone rang. He almost ignored it, but the number was unknown. He answered, Hello? Is this Lucas Pereira? A woman's voice asked. Yes. This is Horizon Dynamics HR. I'm calling because your resume was quite strong, and while we saw you didn't make the interview slot today, we'd like to confirm, was there an emergency? His heart jumped. Honesty battled survival. He could say yes, make something up. Hospital, accident, illness. He closed his eyes. I helped someone whose car broke down, he said softly. I misjudged the time. It's my fault. A pause. Then the professional tone returned. I see. Unfortunately, punctuality is one of our core values. At this time, we won't be able to proceed with your application. He nodded, even though she couldn't see. I understand. Thank you for calling. He hung up, and then, quietly, he laughed. A small, breathless, ridiculous laugh. Because he'd tried to do the right thing, and somehow, the world still felt like it was punishing him for it. He walked home. He ignored the bakery's smell of warm bread, ignored the family yelling playfully outside the apartment across the hall. ignored everything except the quiet in his room when he closed the door. He sat on his bed. He took the printed interview email off the wall. He folded it neatly. He didn't throw it away, but he stopped looking at it like a prayer. 2 days later, he was bussing tables at the diner down the street, temporary work he sometimes picked up when rent got scary, when the door chimed. He didn't look up right away. The lunch rush had just disappeared, leaving crumbs and plates everywhere. He grabbed a towel and moved from table to table, mind numb. "Hi," a voice said gently. He turned. It was her, the girl with the flat tire. She stood just inside the door, hands folded awkwardly, looking strangely out of place beneath the fluorescent lights and sticky menus. For a moment, his brain refused to connect both realities. Then he blinked. "Oh, hey," he said, surprised. "Did the roadside guys finally show up?" She smiled. "They did eventually. I've actually been trying to find you." He frowned. "Find me? How?" She lifted her shoulders lightly. "This city has more cameras than people, and the area has a lot of businesses. I asked around. Barbershop guy recognized you. Said you work here sometimes." He flushed. "That's weirdly impressive." She stepped closer. "I never thanked you properly, and I felt really bad that you left in such a hurry. You dropped this." She held out a folded piece of paper. He took it. It was the interview email. He must have lost it while running. "So," she said softly, reading his confusion, "Horizon Dynamics?" He didn't answer immediately. He tucked the paper into his pocket. "It didn't work out," he said simply. Her brows knit. "Because of me?" He shook his head. "Because of time." A silence stretched between them. Other customers whispered. The cook peeked out from the kitchen. Finally, she inhaled. "My name's Emily. Lucas." "I know," she said. He blinked. "You know?" Her expression changed. Something calm, steady, almost powerful. "Yes, because I work at Horizon Dynamics," she said. "And I was late to a board meeting the morning you helped me." He went still. Board meeting. He pictured suits, long tables, glass walls. "You work there?" "I own it," she said quietly. He didn't speak. Didn't even breathe. Not for a long moment. She watched his expression slowly shift from disbelief to embarrassment to something like dread. "I'm so sorry," she said. "I had no idea you were on your way to us. I thought you were just being stupid," he finished softly. "Kind," she corrected. "And now I can't stop thinking about it." He swallowed. "I'm not looking for pity. I'm not offering pity." Another silence. She looked around the diner, then back at him. "Can you take a break?" He checked with the cook. The man shrugged like life is short. Lucas followed her outside. The sky had changed. Blue now, clear, as if the world had chosen not to be gloomy anymore. They stood near the curb. "Listen," she said. "I won't insult you by promising miracles. I don't hire out of guilt, and I definitely don't mix charity with business. Horizon is intense, competitive, ruthless, sometimes." "I understand," he said. "But," she continued, "I watched the security footage from that morning. Not because I was spying, because security flagged the car incident as unusual. I saw you push my car alone. I saw people ignoring me. And I saw you refuse to brag when the HR department called." Heat spread across his face. She smiled. "I value competence, intelligence, strategy. But my father, when he was alive, used to say something to me that I hated at the time." She imitated an older man's voice playfully. "Anyone can look impressive in a suit, Em. The only thing you really learn about people is what they do when nobody's watching." Her voice softened again. "You did something when nobody was watching." "But I also blew the interview," he said, almost apologizing. She nodded. "Yes, you did. And consequences exist. That's reality. But I can't shake the feeling that letting someone like you disappear would be a mistake." She paused. "I want to invite you back. Not for sympathy. For an honest assessment. Different panel. Different time slot. You compete normally. No special treatment. If you're not good enough, you don't get the job." He stared. I don't know what to say." Say yes, she offered. He laughed. I don't want a favor. Good, she said. Then don't see it as one. See it as correcting a variable. You never actually got evaluated. He thought of the rent, the long shifts, the email taped to the wall. He finally nodded. Okay. She smiled, satisfied. Tomorrow, 10 a.m. Don't be late. Then she opened the door of the same black car, now with perfect tires, and slipped inside. The engine hummed. The car disappeared into traffic. Lucas remained on the sidewalk, heart pounding, world spinning slightly. He whispered to himself. What just happened? He didn't know yet. He didn't know that his life had just twisted, like a plot line waiting to explode. He didn't know how much this story was still going to cost him. And he definitely didn't know that the real test hadn't even started. Lucas didn't sleep. He lay awake listening to the hum of the refrigerator, the distant sirens, the shadows shifting against the wall. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the Horizon Dynamics logo, or Emily's face, or failure. Morning came slowly. He showered, shaved, pressed the suit again, tied and retied the knot 5 times until it sat perfectly. He checked the time. He left early. Too early. This time, he arrived 45 minutes ahead, sat in the small park across the street from the building, and watched leaves twist in the breeze. He breathed. In, out, no catastrophes, no flat tires, no distractions. At 9:42, he walked inside. Security recognized nothing about him, which somehow made him feel invisible and safe at the same time. The receptionist smiled. Polite, neutral. Good morning. Name? Lucas Pereira. 10 o'clock. Marketing analyst. She typed quickly. Yes, please take the elevator to the 11th floor. Someone will come get you. He rode up alone. The elevator was too quiet. His heart sounded too loud. His reflection looked too serious. 11th floor. The doors opened to a hallway of glass offices, soft carpets, tasteful art. He stood there, trying not to appear lost. A woman in a navy blazer approached. Lucas? Yes. I'm Karen, from HR. Follow me. She was efficient, professional, impossible to read. She led him through a maze of corridors until they reached a smaller conference room. No windows, just a round table, water bottles, a faint scent of lemon cleaning spray. He sat. Your interviewers will be with you shortly, she said. Then she left. The silence felt heavier than any noise. He rehearsed again. Achievements. Experience. Why Horizon? The door opened. 3 people walked in. A man with gray hair and tired eyes. Operations. A woman with glasses and a notebook. Marketing director. A younger guy in a crisp suit. Data analytics. They shook hands. Introduced themselves. Saturday? The director smiled first. All right, Lucas. We're glad you could come back. He nodded. Thank you for the opportunity. The questions came quickly. Not soft. Not friendly. Real. Tell us about a time you failed. What's your approach to launching a campaign with limited budget? How do you handle conflict? What do you know about our competitors? He answered. Not perfectly, but honestly. He didn't try to sound impressive as much as clear. He talked about the diner, about promoting specials on slow days using social media, about negotiating with stubborn coworkers, about learning how to listen. He saw something subtle change in their expressions. Interest, curiosity, not automatic dismissal. Then the analytics guy leaned in. We ran a test with candidates this week, a hypothetical case study. Would you be willing to walk us through how you'd boost signups for our new app in 3 months? They slid a sheet across the table. He read. He thought. He took the pen and scribbled quietly. He spoke. First, I'd look at where your audience already spends time instead of forcing them somewhere new. Then, partnerships. Content that teaches, not just sells. Micro-influencers instead of celebrities. He drew arrows. Explained conversion funnels. Introduced small, clever strategies from things he had seen in the diner world and small businesses. When he finished, the room was quiet. Then the director smiled. genuinely. Thank you. The tone shifted, questions softened into conversation. About goals, growth, the culture, his life. At some point he forgot to be terrified. He just talked. After an hour, they stood. We appreciate your time, Lucas, the gray-haired man said. HR will be in touch. The standard ending. No clues. He shook their hands and walked out, feeling emptied, not bad, not good, just uncertain. The hallway felt longer on the way back. Karen, from HR, met him again. Please wait here a moment, she said, guiding him to a small lounge with chairs and magazines. He sat. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. He wondered if perhaps they were being kind by letting him leave slowly, giving him a buffer before rejection. He almost stood. The elevator doors opened. Emily stepped out, not in jeans, not in sneakers, black suit, subtle heels, hair tied back, minimal makeup, calm, sharp presence. She looked like someone who made rules. Their eyes met. For a moment, just a girl again. Then business. Lucas, she said with a nod. Walk with me. He followed. They turned into another hallway. Quieter, more private. She opened a door to a corner office, not enormous, but elegant. Plants, books, a framed photo of an older man smiling. She closed the door behind them. How did it feel? She asked. He shrugged. Like being measured in ways I don't fully understand. She smiled faintly. That's accurate. He rubbed his palms against his pants unknowingly. So, was I terrible? She tilted her head. No, you weren't terrible. Relief tried to sneak in, but he held it back. She paced softly. This company was my father's. He built it from nothing in a tiny apartment. People think I'm some rich kid who inherited a playground. They don't realize this place was built on risk, discipline, sacrifice. She paused. And mistakes. Many of them. He didn't interrupt. She continued. People come here wanting power, titles, corner offices. They say the right words, shake the right hands, but very few people show us who they are when there's nothing for them to gain. Her eyes locked onto his. You showed me. He cleared his throat. I didn't do it for advantage. I know, she said. That's why it matters. She sat on the desk edge, arms folded lightly. The panel liked you. They saw your raw potential. They also saw your lack of polish. You're not trained like the others. You're missing some theory, some corporate vocabulary. He nodded. I expected that. And yet, she continued, you think like a builder, not just an applicant. You understand people. You tell the truth. That's rare. Silence. Then, simply, I want to offer you a position. His breath hitched. For the role I interviewed for? She shook her head. No. Something different. Something where you can learn aggressively without drowning. He waited. Junior strategy associate, she said. 6-month trial. Lower salary than the analyst role, but direct mentorship, cross-department learning, and, she smiled slightly, the kind of access most people here would kill for. He tried to speak. He couldn't. He swallowed hard. I don't want this because you feel guilty. I'm not guilty, she replied. I'm careful. There's a difference. He sat down slowly in the chair across from the desk. This changes my life. Yes, she said. And it will also make your life significantly harder. You'll be working long hours. You'll get criticized. You'll make mistakes in front of people who remember them. He laughed softly. That sounds terrifying. Good, she replied. That means you won't treat it lightly. He went quiet again. He thought of rent, of the diner, of printing resumes, of failure, of his mother's voice telling him he deserved something good, even if life seemed to disagree. Then he nodded. I accept. Her expression softened, not professional, not cold, human. Welcome to Horizon, Lucas. They shook hands. For a second, something passed between them. Respect, gratitude. Something deeper neither wanted to acknowledge out loud yet. His first weeks were chaos. Spreadsheets, meetings, acronyms he didn't understand, emails that sounded polite but meant pressure, deadlines that felt like cliffs. He made mistakes. He seed the wrong person. Misread a data chart. Forgot to attach a file. Each time, embarrassment burned. Each time, someone corrected him. Firm, but not cruel. And quietly, he improved. He stayed late, reading, learning terms, watching how decisions happened. He observed office politics, like a scientist studying predators. He saw arrogance. He saw fear disguised as confidence. And sometimes, he saw kindness. Emily wasn't always visible. She floated above boardrooms, negotiations, rarely lingering on the main floor. But sometimes their paths crossed. Elevator, hallway, quick nod. Occasional, how's the trial going? She never hovered, never protected him. If anything, she was harder on him than others. One night, nearly midnight, he was still at his desk finishing projections when she appeared quietly. "You're still here." He rubbed his neck, trying not to drown. She stepped closer, glancing at the document. "You're missing something." She pointed gently where he hadn't factored user behavior drop-off after 30 days. He said, "Right. I forgot the churn metric." She smiled faintly. "You're allowed to be new. You're not allowed to be lazy." "I'm not lazy," he said. "I know," she replied. "That's why I'm investing this much time in you." He hesitated. "Why did you give me this chance, really?" She looked at him. For once, she didn't answer quickly. "Because I'm tired of hiring brilliant people who don't care about anyone but themselves," she said softly. "And because sometimes the right person shows up at the wrong moment, and the only mistake would be letting timing decide everything." Silence settled, comfortable, fragile. He nodded. "Thank you. Earn it," she said. Then she left. 3 months passed. He transformed. Still humble, still learning, but stronger now. He presented his first idea in a team meeting, a campaign focusing on community, not just products, ordinary people telling real stories. He expected it to be ripped apart. Instead, the room leaned in. The marketing director smiled. "This actually feels authentic," she said. "Let's test it." They launched, and it worked. Slowly at first, then faster. Numbers climbed. Engagement rose. The app's signups grew beyond projections. The CEO, Emily, in full commander mode, praised the team publicly. She didn't mention him by name. He didn't need her to. He knew. After the meeting, as everyone left buzzing with energy, she brushed past him and murmured quietly, "Nice job." It felt better than applause. On the last day of his 6-month trial, HR asked him to come upstairs. Same hallway, same office, same plant with dust on the leaves. He sat again, heartbeat slower this time, but still loud. Emily walked in, not smiling yet. "How do you think you did?" she asked. He thought. "I think I learned more in 6 months than in the last 6 years. I think I made mistakes. I think I tried to fix them. And I think, if you hire me permanently, I'll keep showing up the same way." She studied him. "You're not perfect," she said. "I know. You're stubborn sometimes. I know. You doubt yourself too much." He exhaled. "I know." A beat. Then her expression shifted. The one he was learning meant good news she pretends not to be emotional about. "You're staying," she said. "Full time, better salary, bigger expectations." For a moment, he just stared. Then he laughed, breathless, disbelieving. "Thank you." He wanted to say more about how the path that looked like loss turned out to be everything, about how helping someone on a street corner had rewritten his future. But something in her eyes said she already knew. She extended her hand again. He shook it firm, confident now. Their hands lingered a second too long. Then they let go. That night, Lucas walked home slowly, feeling the weight of the city differently, not hostile, not judgmental, just alive. He passed the bench where he had once sat, exhausted and defeated after missing the interview. He stood there, remembering that version of himself, the one who thought everything had collapsed. He smiled to himself. Sometimes, losing the thing you wanted was the beginning of the thing you actually needed. He never told anyone the full story, that the girl on the street was the owner of the company, That kindness had closed one door and opened another. That fate had a strange sense of humor. But sometimes, when he caught his reflection in the glass of the Horizon building standing a little taller, walking with purpose, he whispered inside, "You didn't miss the opportunity of your life. You found it in a way you never expected." And somewhere, on the top floor, in an office with quiet plants and framed memories, a woman who owned everything and still felt the weight of responsibility smiled whenever she thought about the day a stranger chose to help instead of running toward success. Because she knew he didn't get the job because of her. He earned it. And one small act of kindness had changed both of their stories forever.